Radiant structures are fortified.
Hard to bring down though.
It's true.
1500 HP. I don't know.
I mean, it depends on the positioning, obviously. We'll keep our eyes on it and what ends up happening here, but a charge going to be canceled, Xingqiu through, as the mid-tier 1 tower is going to fall.
To always have to catch is a lot of pressure on him, especially when he needs to be the hero who's top of the net worth, always farming, shows up late to the fight. So kind of recognizing, I think as well, generally with Lesh IO, the IO supplements you. He gives you health, gives you mana. To always have to catch. So you're able to buy a lot of pressure on him, especially when he needs to be the hero who's top of the net worth, always farming, shows up late to the fight. So kind of recognizing, I think as well, generally.
And the question is, are they going to be the cats and the mice are here upon
I'll find out.
Beastcoast, because Beastcoast, they got dogs in the seats.
That's
you
true.
See, so
it's pretty good against
There's
them.
a DD and BKB on Chris Luck on the Shadow Fiend, level 13.
I mean, they want to fight right now in LGD. If they take this poorly, this could go completely wrong, but it's starting off pretty good. Stinger there. Stun onto 2. The rebound forward. Pulls him in. Tries to make this work. They get the charge. Connecting onto Stinger with Marcy dead. Things get weird. The lift up on the Shadow
they don't have
Fiend.
the damage.
This is looking pretty good, but when he comes back down, he's got BKB ready. See SumaiL turns. Ready to punch the lasso there. They got nothing to say. He's gone. Can they find any more? Hector, stun. Ame tries to run away. Good blink out. So with that, the disengage gets LGD out.
This is looking a lot more like game 1 in terms of the fight starts in one spot and it just kind of spreads everywhere. Like people are going every which direction. We got all kinds of mobility. It's looking like the rapid transit here. Singapore also very efficient, moving around as fast as you really need to go.
The DD rune just was too much damage for nothing to say. I think he either was out of the Warcry range or it expired, so that's kind of his physical protection right now. He has Yules, he doesn't have much health. The IO is also playing with the Sven for most of the fight, so he's not really getting this help that he needs, especially with how the game's playing out.
Lions had a great save on ZynQ as well there too. Saw him in the fight. He got a little bit deep on the Spirit Breaker, but he manages to jump on in. And part of that was that, again, the illusions got purged instantly from K1.
There's no BKB.
Fuel Scepter in some trouble. Tries to turn, tries to get him out. Requiem of Souls going to get some separation, and K1 comes in, wants to clean up. No ulti available. He's dead. Now ZynQ looking for a bash, not able to find it. No bash, but they do get the stun. Stinger, the
Big
stun!
commitment.
Oh, Stinger! You saved his life! ZynQ brought down! They saved the region! Separation, and K1 comes in, wants to clean up. No ulti available. He's dead. Now ZynQ looking for a bash, not able to find it. No bash, but they do get the stun. Stinger, the
Big
stun!
commitment.
Oh, Stinger! You saved his life! ZynQ brought down! They opened this one up. What a huge win that fight was. Man, that aura.
And Stinger was struggling for this game, right? I feel like, you know, the best thing he'd been doing so far, I feel like, was getting initiated on first, and then he hits a save like that.
It looks so scary. Chris Luck has no BKB. You think he can just get bursted here, but a nice jump kind of slows the damage down from nothing to say. Even pulls him back so he can't follow up. Gets a Requiem off, fears him in opposite direction, so it splits up the entire fight.
And the illusion's actually living, right? Like, that's a huge part of this, too. It's like, nothing say comes in. He
Look,
doesn't
he
clear
dies
them
so
quite
fast
right.
in the back.
It's just gone.
That tree, dude, that tree.
The sidekicks on the illusion as well, you know, just helping out.
Yes, that the illusions don't get the bonus damage.
Easy, it's great. Yeah, very helpful. Yeah.
Look at him. So he's like, don't worry, guys, I got this.
Just baiting, just baiting.
Really close to being a disaster. If he doesn't get the blink off on the Sven, that's probably just 2 free kills there. There's no turnaround, but again, the split's used for just 2 supports.
That's true. Be so coordinated right now for Beastcoast, and they're obviously, but I feel like
the most important hero right now. Elder and Bat, if those two go down, Sven can get kited, Shadowfiend can get kited, Marcy will just die at some point to 2 hits from the Sven. And the question is just, how do you find the Elder and Bat? They're the ones going on you, and when they're going on you, it's so much harder to kill them.
The eventual goal of the tower. Beastcoast gonna try and cement.
BKB. But see SumaiL, he's left all alone on the stage and in the game. He doesn't have anybody with him. See SumaiL goes down. LGD take that one.
They find that perfect moment. The Aegis is expiring. They see, like, Beastcoast, they felt so comfortable. They have this vision, but a perfect smoke, that great mobility across the map. They're going to have them to the charge as well as the relocate. And LGD just fully pulling apart that fight as well. So many tiny little moments that could have turned this for Beastcoast.
You're going to get ran down. Whisper, he got killed off first in that last round of the fight. They need him desperately to make these engagements work in their favor. And they do find that pickoff on XingQ, Spirit Breaker that has been so pesky in these games. But 26 minutes in, there's barely anything separating these two teams. We're going to have to wait for that next Roche.
And a couple of big items as well as we had there, right? Like the BKB on the Marcy, certainly a really enabling for your team versus.
Also, just the Warcry, we also see Ame picks up the shard, which will sometimes see the carry skip on Sven just because they want damage.
XingQ chased again, and Whisper again right there on top of him. They're going to drop some wards. The rebound comes out, and another kill. So LGD kind of just bleeding kill after kill in this top lane.
Did he get away with that though? That was pretty cute.
Like it.
It's
It's a little scary, but his goal right now is just to push
Hello.
the top lane now. I think they're probably buying time for this AC to be finished, which it is now. Nothing to say. Also, just gets plate mail. Ame gets his Chrysalis, so they hit some timings based off of this. And
কি মেইন
they're
ইভেন্ট
trying to
ছিল
look to fight.
তাহলে ওটা
It's all about the
দাঁড়া
Roche.
Yeah, the
Everyone
Roche.
needs to worry about the Roche.
And the
Okay,
vision
main
around
event
that part
chalo,
of the
na?
map, because that is something that they are lacking in LGD, and they have relocate, they have the charge from the Spirit Breaker, so this is where they want to be playing right now from LGD, and it's going to be hard for them to actually
LGD
get to that point
versus
of the map, so
Beastcoast.
they have to do it the old-fashioned way, and just run as a team, smoke up, and head on in.
The scariest thing for LGD is, as they smoke up, is Ame has kind of only been able to fight during the duration of his BKB. Every single time the BKB ends, you see him run away. He'll have 20, 30 seconds left on God Strength, but there's just so many random spells that Beastcoast has. I don't think there's a Lotus yet on LGD. There's not much they can do to help him.
DD and Invis for
Right
SumaiL.
on top of him, they find one. The rebound is
Dark
huge.
on
Nothing to
Dark.
say. Trying to survive through that
LGD
BKB. The
versus
Bloodstone
Beastcoast
doing some good
winner.
work. But right on top of him, Gojira keeps the pressure going. Meanwhile, Ame turns to fight, takes down Stinger.
থাম্বনেল তো
Gojira
হয় না শুধু
back away from this one. Does give
Thumbnail
Bruin
এ তো তুই কোনো
very
নাম
well the
দিলি না।
blink in
নাম
and the
দিলি
kill.
না।
Nothing to say. Still living barely, but pulls in. K1 finds him for the
Beastcoast
finish.
খালিটা দে
And they
আবার,
take
এটা
down
খালিটাই
Whisper
দিছি।
Ame. He's turning it up right now, but a 3-second stun.
Okay,
Seesaw
this is
still
ছাড়ছি
lifted in the
ছাড়ছি
air. They
তুই এবার
need
ব্যাক
that
ব্যাকে
Shadow
যাস
Fiend in there.
আচ্ছা
They
শুন
won't quite get
এই
it.
যে তুই
Buyback
ইউটিউব
from nothing
স্টুডিওতে
to
যা
say. 3 heroes alive each team.
ওখান থেকে তোর লাইভটা চলে না দেখতেছস না তুই ওই যে ক্রিয়েট লাইভে ক্লিক কর তোর এখন লাইভটা শো করতেছে না লাইভ হচ্ছে যে স্ট্রিম সেটিংস গোলাইভে ক্লিক কর এখন তোর স্ট্রিমিং দেখাতেছে না পুরোটা ওই দেখ উপরে দেখ টপ কর্নার হচ্ছে একটা ডলারের চিহ্ন আছে দেখছস ওইটা হচ্ছে 10 মিনিট পর পর একবার চাপ দিবি ওইটা অ্যাড দেয় ওইটা অ্যাড দেয় নাহলে তো ভিডিও থেকে ইনকাম হবে না দাঁড়া আমি আসতেছি
Games get decided, and for Beastcoast, this would be their highest placement ever, and for LGD, it'd be the lowest placement since TI6 if they get knocked out at this point.
They pass that shard over to Whisper here.
Aether Lens finished, and Aegis, actually, on the Batrider, which is a little interesting. I would think maybe Shadow Fiend would want it just to hit buildings or the Chaos Knight, but Whisper is the easiest to kill. He has no armor, he has not much HP, and he has to jump in.
This is a big one if they can get it. Fear,
No buyback.
nothing to say. You will Scepter lifting him up, trying to kill him, and they get him. No buyback. 90 seconds, he was just standing there.
I don't know. That was a bold place to be. I mean, Faithneon was nearby, but you know, we're at that point now where there is the big damage, right? We've gotten there, especially when you know they have that confidence coming up from an Aegis like that to just move forward on the map.
And nobody has buyback right now for either of these teams. Whisper did buy out for his, which is probably why they give him that Aegis.
I feel like that was such a strange misstep.
That is a rough one. Very rough. Still 6 minutes, but the big jump.
No Aegis.
No Aegis on Shadow Fiend. That's the price you pay. And now K1 also goes down. Whisper's the only one left alive. LGD, they strike back in the biggest way.
All right, it's just a bait. we don't need him. That's all it was.
The damage of the Sven, just stun after stun after stun, and he just pumps it out.
All it took was a second. A second.
Was it that long?
Too close. Oh my god. And we swing back the other way.
I feel like the comms in that moment are just silence because like it was just over. It was just done. Everything feels so good. You're all excited. You're thinking like of the next step of going high ground.
You want to go
right?
high ground. He's dead for 60 seconds. So someone's saying no buyback.
All this brain power just says like, oh, we're prepping for this situation that we'll be going high ground in a moment, and this is happening. He's just cleaving and cutting you all in half.
So we almost hope someone on our team is saying like, hey guys, they can fight us. Be careful. Be careful.
Yeah.
Be ready. And they weren't ready.
Not that time.
Well, they did use a bunch of big ultis, but they're going to be back up again since everybody was dead for so long. The plus side of your Beastcoast is since everybody died immediately, there's still 2.5 minutes left on this Aegis. I don't know if they're going to feel confident just walking up a high ground again, though.
Whisper can find perhaps a big play there. I mean, he's got the dust, right? He's ready for anything. Ghost Fizz hop in.
They're going to smoke up, try to get this Xin Q pick, but a little too fast. LGD just wait for this next split. They goes 5, and You probably just want to
এটা
beat the
Dota 2
brew
community
and
তে
hope he
share
doesn't
দিত
get
সুযোগ একটা
killed in one hit. That's why he's trying to finish this A on this, because
Yeah.
if nothing to say doesn't get jumped, if Ame is able to jump himself, which means like he doesn't get jumped, he
বলতে
gets
পারি
a
না
kill. Nothing to say will follow up, clean up after the BKBs. The split will kind of break apart the fight, and for the side of Beastcoast, they need these jumps.
Discord
They
এর
need the
sound
lasso, they
area টা
need the
change
Earth
করতে পারে,
Splitter,
Dota
they
sound
need the
area টা change
Shadowfin to
করতে।
get his BKB off every single fight. They have the damage. It's just whether or not they're able to do it in the fight.
Yeah, and why, of course, like having that better XP as usual as an IO tethered up is closing in at least. Like, is the highest level support I think in the game right now in terms of getting around. I'll excite using Q, but try and get yourself to level 18. Every little bit helps if you actually want to get some sort of a save with this relocate.
If they can
Okay,
make
bro.
it work. So less than 2K separating these two teams. In terms of buybacks, which again is going to be one of the big things we need to keep our eyes on, still a couple heroes that are missing those ones as well, as smoke now comes from LGD. It's everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody missing it, whether from gold or whether from time. But a overwhelming blink now done on the Sven. So more ways. I mean, Ame this game has absolutely
income
been able
কেমন
to
রে?
pull this back into their favor. He's been doing everything.
$1 হইছে
Got another 10 armor from the level 20 talent, so even just tankier on every single hero on LGD and kind of closing it. He'll get another, probably, he'll go for the stun, I would assume. They don't have damage issues. Just stun the Shadow Fiend for 3 seconds, kill him, just move on target to target, just one by one, and then they'll fall.
Shadow Fiend in the meantime trying to get into a butterfly now would be a huge win for them as well.
How many smokes they've stacked up over there on LGD, huh?
I've seen a lot of them.
Another one popped out right now.
On the side of Beastcoast, this fight, catch the brew. Kill the brew. He has an Andis, but if you can somehow either force the split, completely kite the fight out.
Well, they are not forwarding the source in the fight out. In fact, it's going to be the other way around. LGD pushing to the other side.
Missed everything.
Okay, Aegis still a couple of seconds, 8 seconds left actually. Did they kill him in time? They do.
নিজের ভিডিও
So
নিজে
Aegis
কয়েকটা
going to
দেখি
come back in just a moment. Trying to back away, but see SumaiL, he's dead. Dead for 80. No buyback at all. Stinger also in trouble. Gonna get dropped. LGD win a huge one now as they will spot Gojira, but can't bring him down in time.
And that's their turnaround hope. If SumaiL can survive, get him back up after that Aegis is popped on Whisper, and he does manage to escape at the very least, but knowing that there's no SumaiL to help, the rest of them just bail on this fight. They know there's no real chance for them to take one versus LGD, and that's going to give them this tier 1 tower up top. A little bit more map.
দাঁড়া, আমি ফেসবুকে একটা শেয়ার দিয়ে আসি।
Panda throws a little rock and doesn't get the BKB off,
ডিসকর্ডের
so
ইয়াটা
the
চেঞ্জ
chain
কর
stuns and takes him down.
ডটার হচ্ছে আউটপুটটা অন্য জায়গায় দে
Oh, just a single fight. So
No, he was just killing Bruce.
ডটার আউটপুট চেঞ্জ করে দে আর ওইখান থেকে চেঞ্জ করে
it's looking a little hard.
ওই
But
স্ট্রিম অ্যাপটা
They're
থেকে
hunting right now, trying to find a quick pick. This is kind of crazy. Thought about it. I am not sure. Beastcoast.
19 না আর নাহলে ফোন দিয়ে ডিসকর্ডে ঢুক তাহলে তো
nothing to say, die back in the mid lane. Just keep getting stuns and the core.
They're going to head up to high ground now. At least one set of racks claimed, and they might go for more. Again, no buyback on Whisper, no buyback on K1. LGD, they do not want to be denied another year trying to make this lower bracket run work for themselves.
You gotta imagine they're playing this pretty safe. There's a tier 2 up top, so you don't have to go too crazy right now as LGD.
Requiem out, couple punches, catching onto one, it's not enough damage. Nothing to say, Yule Scepter dodge away, find Gojira, kill him off, see SumaiL, nowhere to go. He too will fall, and LGD, the path is clear to move on. Top 6, can they finish it off? Do they go all in, or are they just gonna play it safe? It looks like they are.
Actually heading up top there too.
No tier 2 top.
Really taking no risks.
Unreal.
Beastcoast need a really good catch right now to extend the game out.
From how good it was looking for Beastcoast early to how much LGD have just wrestled back control from them. And now trying to close this out as they head up, go for the mega creeps. 40 seconds still where no SumaiL is going to be there.
Nothing to say scouting. He's looking for that sneaky play, checking the tree lines of the
Retreat back, ensure that they don't give up anything, although maybe it's a fake back. They catch sight for a moment, thought about it. Still ready to run on in.
Spearbreaker has the shard. Planar Pocket, I believe is the name.
Yes.
Very interesting. The cool thing is it'll kind of tank the lasso for his cores. It'll tank the chaos stun, maybe the dispose. I don't know how the interaction with that one works, but
don't worry about it.
we'll see. If we get there, we'll see it. So it's really nice for the cores of LGD. They're able to just sit there and hit. And if he tanks a lasso, I think the fight is really hard for Beastcoast. Yes. They really need this lasso in the early player. They needed it all game. And dude, it doesn't even provide the damage anymore. There's so much armor on the side of LGD. There's so much healing and sustain. Even this Wraith Pact is just kind of mitigating all this damage, and it's making the damage issues more, more impactful.
It's a true team effort here on the side of LGD. It's gonna be very hard to pick off one of these little units. They're like the herd, the buffalo running together. No one left behind.
I think it's been very impressive how Fitbjorn has been playing these fights. He keeps jumping in and committing his body. He knows how tanky he is. He keeps kiting it out with all the slows, and he's always the front line.
And looking to end this one here. Faith Beyond, the one up front center, blinks in. BKB, nothing to say, still fine. They're going to TP out of there on one. And XinQ, are they going to be able to kill him? They jump on in. Lasso saved. Gets him away. Couple more punches to the fucking stun, but K1 can't even hunt him down. The control is there. LGD, they cover themselves perfectly. GG is called. LGD, they're moving on.
They're on their feet here. The LGD fans, they love to see it. Again, looking a little bit worrisome there. Beastcoast managed to do so much in that early game, but LGD, they hold fast. They recognize how they can do this together as a team if they just tank up, watch that big initiation play that they need there.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack! Radiant structures are fortified!
Radiant's middle tower is under attack!
Radiant's middle tower is under attack!
Radiant's middle tower has fallen! Radiant's middle tower is under attack! Radiant structures are fortified!
Radiant's middle tower is under attack!
Radiant's middle tower has fallen! fallen! Radiant's middle barracks are under attack! Radiant's middle barracks have fallen! Radiant's middle barracks have fallen!
Dominating. Great teamwork, you vicious thugs.
Even I like a good bottle.
I feel like there were a couple of losses on the main stage, but now pulling it back here in this elimination matchup, this would be so huge for either of the teams if they could make it happen. But as we get into this game number 1 of this best of 3, the crowd feeling ready, feeling the love for both these squads.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot on the back of Chris Huck this game to have a lot of impact on the Storm. He doesn't have many stuns on his team besides the Chrono, and you don't want to depend on Chrono to do everything for you, and it's a good matchup, Storm versus Pango. It's kind of one of the more famous matchups. When you pick Pango, you think Ember, Puck, Storm is the big 3 to counter you in the mid lane. So he has a little advantage draft-wise, and it's just a lot. He is playing versus Silence on Drow, he's playing versus the Pango, which, you know, in some cases is good versus him with the built-in BKB, even all the save from Undying, so he's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, it's not like a hex, but, you know, it's if you make one bad zip a little bit too close, you don't have that initiation coming in first for one of your allies. Certainly could be a problem there for SumaiL.
Well, and we also should mention real quickly too, there's, you know, so much that's kind of been made about, okay, the aggressive style that we see out of South America and stuff like that. And I think that's very true for Thunder Awaken. But when you look at Beastcoast, this is a team that's very comfortable going into the late game. And with this lineup, you've got a Faceless Void, you've got a Storm Spirit running out there late. There's some interesting stuff going on. Is there a particular team that you feel like you favor if we get to that late game scenario?
I think still probably LGD. Beastcoast have a more early mid-game timing with the Wraith Pact on Visage. LGD don't have a Wraith Pact buyer, so this early, 15 to 25 minutes where the Wraith Pact really matters is in Beastcoast's favor. In addition to, that's the big Storm timing. He has this Ag timing later in the game, but there's not an amazing follow-up outside of a snap, I would say. So probably when it gets to late game, the power of Drow Slardar will kind of kick in once we get to the 30-40 minute mark. But I think early game, it's very good chance that, they get run over by Enchantress on the pressure mid, Visage on the pressure bot, even just a random Chrono here or there, getting some important kills into Roshan.
Well, like you were pointing out there, Lyrical, certainly not been their forte necessarily over the year as well. Like when you tend to tune into some of the Beastcoast TBC games, you'll often find that they're behind.
Right.
They tend to drop sometimes in the laning stage. They don't quite get like that same aggression as maybe 2 years ago, where you'd always see this rotation of Hector's playing a stun in the carry lane, right? He gets the stun into the rotation from mid.
Speaking of some rotations, Ame in a lot of trouble as they run him down. He might just be dead as the chase continues. That is a first blood. Whisper claiming this early. You get this start for Visage can be very scary as the lane goes on.
One of the big things with Visage is this hero plays to win the lane. The entire concept of the hero is use all of your mana to deal so much damage and hope you get the kills so you buy the mana back, which was, one of the slight concerns about Snapfire. You can't melee body up with a Visage. It's a lot of commitment if you go in, but they get the first blood. That's a lot of regen, some stats that Whisper will get, and now is where the lane looks hard.
Yeah, that's where Wise going to put in that big work there on the Undying. Of course, a hero well known for trying to do this, right? Bully right back. Also, just trying to spend all of your gold for mana. Sitting with a full-on fruit stand here of 6 mangoes. Ready to spam some decay.
Radiant's middle tower
in the mid lane, I think this is, again, this is where the supports really want to rotate, especially the Enchantress. I think we're going to see an early rotation at even the 5-minute mark on the Siege, where, you know, nothing to say maybe dies once, even he'll die again, and that's where the game completely breaks down if it happens.
Stinger up there also already trying to put some harassment and took over the range creep. That piercing damage, pretty good at being able to deny out some of those creeps, but needs to watch out for the arrow coming from XinQ. We'll keep our eyes on that, but again, down bottom, the aggression and why just drops again. We talked about Whisper. Watch out for this guy. He has been having a hell of a tournament.
Yeah, and this is one of those issues with Undying. Like, you see it early in the tournament, and obviously the hero is still very strong, but there's certain matchups that you don't really want to be playing into. You're hoping for like double melee strength heroes, right? That's kind of the dream. And what do you got here? Here's a range strength hero, and you have a Visage, right? People are always like, they understand that Undying's still strong, especially through like the mid game and even some parts of the later game with the vision from the Tombstone. But when you can find these lane punishes, this is where it feels like you're actually like able to sort of remove some of the benefits they're getting from that hero.
He just keeps buying mangoes. He brought another one out too. So why? Hopefully going to be able to use those. If he keeps dying, that is not going to end up serving him too well. But
it's a lot of free mangoes when you die.
That's fair.
But yeah, so Visage is the way you beat Undying a lot of the time is Zoo. A lot of summons, and Visage has the summons. He has the laning versus him. The birds kill the Tombstone in the mid to late game with all the attack speed. So really nice massive matchup. It's generally just that Undying has a slight edge in the lane if his carry is able to be aggressive with him, but they don't really have the opportunity. I think they kind of lost it, especially with that first blood, just giving so much gold away. And now LGD just hoping to go for an even lane bot.
It feels like so often you'll see the position 5 try that exact same play, where they come down in the lane, you're really hoping to catch the carry, and rarely works, but that time that it does, it just does so much for you. It reminds me of like trying to snipe the early courier mid or something for the mid laner's bottle.
The bounties and pubs.
Yeah.
Invis level 1, sitting with a ward, sitting behind the tower.
Oh, that's the nice way to go. Well, again, this bottom lane, definitely very happy for it for Beastcoast. Nothing to say. Going to take some pressure mid and see SumaiL right on top of him. Oh, miss uphill. Oh, gets out of there, just barely.
The whittling down though, right?
The prize is mine.
XinQ is walking behind him though, on the mid lane.
Yeah, and this has been something for these Miranas.
Oh, a nice move. XinQ, it's got him caught. Can he survive? Fairy Fire, try turn. Oh, see SumaiL, able to live. See SumaiL gets the kill first. Oh, he turned a catastrophe into something still not great, but better than nothing.
It's not the worst. Gets XP. He gets to TP back mid. He's missing probably around 3 creeps. So it's neither of the mids actually get really an advantage from this. It's mostly that now he gets the full reset, but Pango obviously gets the battlefield now from Mirana, so could be worse.
At least it was exciting, right? You know, it was cool. Cheer a little bit. This is all good.
Ever the showman.
It's these main stage Miranas though, sometimes struggling for these earlier plays. Some games going really well, other not so much. As now XinQ can run to Stinger. This is a tried and true matchup for the Mirana. Obviously you can try and arrow into the creep if you can, but look at that positioning from Stinger to ensure it's not going to be possible.
Very well done. They're definitely taking it to him here on the earlier side. And well, Hector in the meantime up top, K1 still able to farm, but you can see that in spite of some of those nice moves and the lane going well early, the CS heavily into the favor of LGD.
Yeah, Whisper has he's 2 kills right now, but he only has 10 lasted, so this is the Drow Undying. Just a strong lane to just sit there, lasted. If you can't push them out, they'll always out-CS you.
One's rolling the dice up top here as well. And to jump in, tries to get Stinger.
It's not going to be quite enough. So XinQ can't get that one. There's more aggression down bottom too. Just madness all around these lanes. Gojira in some trouble. We'll try and survive through as the K runs off. But Ame right on top tonight. Nicely played. There was about 60 damage total there, and he took every one of them.
Something interesting is Faithbeyond, it looks like he almost might just rush the Mask of Madness. He picks up an early Morbid Mask, which I don't know if we've seen that much, especially after the nerf to creeps. So the laning stage of it's a little weaker, and it's better in this mid game where you're actually hitting heroes with it. So he probably recognizes that Hector can't jungle. He has to sit in the lane versus him, so he'll always be able to hit him. It gives him sustain, as opposed to the offlaners usually by the Helm or the Ring of Health. So it's an interesting way to play.
Yeah, and Stinger, of course, like wanting to do a little bit of rotations early on too. So creating this 1v1 scenario that you want to be advantaged in for the slider.
Nothing to say, gets level 6 first, and SumaiL will now get it. So
Faithbeyond, yeah, that. I feel like it's just like a dice roll up here, right? Like one good bash from the Faceless Void can turn into something. One good arrow. Everyone just battling over these creeps as the Harpy spams it out.
The 6-minute rune, very important for both teams.
like it is going to spawn up top. SumaiL picks that one up. It's an illusion, so not a kill rune, but can get him out of dodge if there starts to be some trouble. Still very even early on here as the rotation comes down bottom. That keeps him alive in case of a gust, and Ame is just going to fall here as Whisper, another kill happens. So good rotation from SumaiL.
It's really important when you're losing the CS in the lanes and you know that just sitting there and extending the laning stage is not favoring you as much to just connect your cores. They bring the Storm to bot there. He's probably going to sit here now and just make it so that if Ame TP's bot, he feels bad. He feels pressure from the Storm. Now his Snapfire is getting experience mid, so he'll get an early level 6. And it's just a big question, is Ame going to TP bot, try to accept this pressure, or is he going to TP top and try to pressure with the Slardar?
Yeah, it's a tough call to make. And I mean, Snapfire probably, in my opinion, one of the absolute best 5s for when you're in this state of like maybe feeling you're a little bit behind, you're pressure to make moves. Getting level 6 on Snapfire just feels like the freest way to kill like any core in the game.
It's just so much damage, especially early when you get the Snapple around the 8-9 minute mark. Cores aren't even expecting it.
No.
They just get one stun, the Snapple just kills them.
See up there too, getting closer on that Faceless Void ulti as well. The Chrono would be a huge setup for it. They get the root onto Faith Beyond, just trying to mess around with them a little bit here. But does get the deny from Stinger as well. Rotation, moving in, Snapfire right on top of him. ZQ going to be forced to leap away, uses 2 of them to get out. So just being a little bit of a bully there as Whisper down bottom is also going to be in a big way trouble. Ame finds that kill. They drop the Tombstone forward as well. And just like that, LGD, they pick up another one.
Their structures.
I think it's a little scary for them to bring all their supports top and abandon the Visage. I think they keep having success when they bring heroes there. Here's so much damage this early. If the Storm goes there, the Snap, they'll probably just kill the Drought every time they go, but they abandon him. The Pango walks over casually, gets a free kill, TP's mid.
Yeah, it feels like they're being pressured in terms of Hector. I just want to make sure that he gets off to a good game. Being a Faceless Void and, like you said, not really wanting to go to the jungle this early on, so that pressure is really hurting them a bit here. But another rotation here. SumaiL with a good rune.
They find Faith Beyond interrupted before he can get the crush. And another kill for Beastcoast. You can see, though, that LGD, in spite of the kill advantage favoring Beastcoast, they're doing a good job of farming up the rest of the map, biding their time, waiting for their moment.
They're making so many moves, people can't even like rotate mid for the wave and like run back in time. So missing out a couple creeps here, but Gojira gets there now, so we'll be able to grab that. And
also interesting from him on the Snap, he's actually maxing his E and going Medallion. This is a build, it was like a year or two ago, I think was very popular. Nowadays, a lot of people go 4-4-0, they rush the 4 staff, they go the shard. So I think he's trying to buff up the physical damage, especially from the Visage in this early game, give them a lot of tower pressure, tanks them up.
Yeah, you kind of have a choice, right? Where if you, let's say you go 4-4-0, you're essentially going to amplify everything that Storm wants to do. Those little gank plays, that big burst damage. Whisper, though, again, same issue. Like, the rotation's not really
he misses. Oh, nothing to say. A rare miss for him indeed, and that Chronosphere just going to be used to get Whisper out of there. LGD not used to seeing those. That's not enough for the kill on the second go. And Beastcoast gifted another chance to survive through it, and Hector getting away. Gojira moves in. They're not going to die for this. Visage Bird's also going down. Xingqiu shows up. Arrow connects. All right, this is a very weird state of affairs down bottom. After they didn't kill Whisper, everything else is just
There's another TP bot. Storm's with full mana.
Looking for it. Jump in. LGD, they stuck around a bit too long. Silence, though, long duration cookie for round 2. SumaiL looking for the chase. Wants to play aggro here. But Drought keeps hitting him, and he has to back out. Now, this is all space for Faith Beyond up top to just keep farming. Well, basically, the only thing they get is a kill on the Undying. Very weird series of events.
And now a race to the haste rune in the river.
He gets it. The SumaiL picks that one up.
Tower is under attack.
Okay, so Chrono gone. Was for the save, though. That's great. Obviously, Rolling Thunder being used there as well. That's going to be back pretty quick, though, if they want to put this pressure on the mid lane. Got to be looking for Gojira with the level 6 soon, though. Very close right now.
The really important thing is as well is all the TPs were used. Only Whisper has TP now, and he's gonna have to TP to his lane to have some impact, and he has to resummon birds as well. Another gank, his birds die, and he's out of the game for 2 minutes. It's just scary for the map right now for Beastcoast.
Look at LGD. All 4 heroes immediately converge up top. They want to try and take this tower and claim one of these objectives. While simultaneously bottom, they're going on to Beastcoast a little bit here. SumaiL, the haste rune, out of mana, stepping away.
Radiant's bottom
They do have those
tower
kisses
is
ready.
under attack.
Yeah, not much you can do in this situation. Nothing stays are holding into the mid lane, so it'll just be a tower trade right now. But yeah, back to that build on the Snapfire though. This idea of, do I want to go for this ganking potential with the high damage nukes that everyone usually goes for the snap, or am I going to try and buff up this like big tempo, this whole plan that we have, because they could roach extremely early at this point right now, with even just like the smallest win from Beastcoast, which is something that is also in the cards for LGD when you have this Slardar. So it could be a slightly earlier timing on that battle of the territory in this game.
Both teams have this really early Roche, even the fight. Both teams have really nice fighting potential around the Roche pit, so the next probably 4 or 5 minutes is going to be, especially when it hits nighttime at 15 minutes, that's where teams are going to be looking for just one kill, forcing a Roche fight. LGD dropped the Tombstone, you can't really walk into Roche. The side of Beastcoast, if they don't use Chrono, you also don't want to walk into a Chrono.
I feel like the Tombstones have been extremely hard to kill, I will say, for a lot of the matches on the main stage, but this game pretty good from Beastcoast. Like, quite a few different range heroes, good mobility. Yep, Snapfire is like the ideal one, of course. We've often seen, though, unfortunately, the Snapfires have been missing, however, those uphill kills. And unfortunately, you're not getting any more attacks with those higher levels.
I also think the scary thing is that since it's maxed, you want to always use it, but
yeah,
Let's for it now. Chrono connects onto 2, and Gojira immediately there with the big ulti. Rolls through, tries to interrupt. Will it be enough? Silence now onto SumaiL. He'll die, but they get 2 in turn. Now trying to get a little bit of separation. A good roll ends up bringing down Stinger, but then the cookie, and now onto Ame. A couple more punches. Hector has him for the double kill. They get the invis to try and survive through this, and nothing to say, still sticking around, but he might have stuck around a bit too long. Do they have any detection? It doesn't look like it. So like that, Beastcoast win a very nice fight here. It's set up for good mid game.
that was a really nice Chrono.
Yeah, they dropped a sentry in the middle of that fight as well there, too, so unfortunately their last one being used, or maybe there could have been a chase opportunity there, nothing to say.
It looked a little scary when Chris got stunned by the Pango roll after jumping in, but there's enough damage between the snap and the storm slightly jumping in on the Chrono just to kill both Slardar and dying.
Yeah, she was at half the damage in that fight there.
Oh, the arrow! The arrow! Xingqiu timed it perfectly. Gojira did not use that cookie that time around. So LGD, they're going to get what they came for here, maybe.
He's going to be off cooldown too while he's dead. It hurts.
Not the Midas.
But the pain.
LGD is probably just going to take the mid tower, and again, mid tower is very important. It opens up the map a lot. It gives you entrance to both of the jungles. It lets you push the mid wave out to give a lot of vision to yourself, so it even gives Roche potential. So with this win, even though these could probably take the fight win, the map win is in LGD's favor.
I love how involved Ame's been in these fights too, particularly with this build, right? Like, just gets into the Dragonlance, but like having, have Falcon Blade, Wraithband, Wand, like you're just such a strong hero in these engagements that even though you did go down that last fight, you can see like still well on top of the board right now in the net worth.
Yeah, and something also interesting is well, not interesting, is that Gus got movement speed fairly recently when you use it. So now Drows are able to show up to fights a lot earlier, have actually mobility instead of being a very slow hero, and we might see him take the town at level 10 as well to get another 15% movement speed. He took damage, so as I say that.
Got enough. It's hanging out there. It's really interesting, the dynamic that we're seeing with these longer cooldowns that Beastcoast are playing around with. As soon as the fight, even if it's a loss for LG, they just run back in there ready to go for another round of it. And we'll have to see if Beastcoast can sort of match that tempo.
Yeah, Drow used to be one of the older school counters to Void, because you would lose the fight to Chrono, you would take Roche, you would take Tower. This was back when...
Ten seconds
Dire
remaining.
team ban.
Radiant team ban. Dire team ban.
Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team pick.
Radiant team pick. What's the way?
每一把都当最后一把，然后就也不要怕输。每一把都当最后一把，然后就也不要怕输。
你行，你行，你上，你上。
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Slaw. Choose your hero.
你行，你行，你上，你上。
每一把都当最后一把，然后就也不要怕输。每一把都当最后一把，然后就也不要怕输。
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
每一把都当最后一把，然后就也不要怕输。
Number one between OG and Liquid, these fan favorite teams. One of them has to go home today. Boys, it's an absolute pleasure casting with you both here at TI11 Icon started. I mean, we've already discussed the drafts. We've got a straight up pause. This is a classic SEA pause, by the way. Celery, this is how you cast SEA Dota. But what are you thinking? Like going into this laning stage, is there anything in particular we have to worry about?
I think the Slark lane will be very interesting. For that reason, I would have liked the Lina to be boss 4. I think that would have been a lot better against Slark in lane. But we'll have to see.
Boxy, please. I mean, they've got the right guys for it at least. We're used to it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a 2-hour pause, maybe 3 hour, hopefully not, but, you know, we could be ready for one. could be the longest just by virtue of a pause like that, but you know, it can be a bit dicey.
I don't know why everyone's clapping, John. I don't know why they're clapping. Does everyone really want to sit here for 2 hours looking at the blank screen?
You know, maximize that ticket, get more games out, more Dota out per hour. Yeah.
Hopefully no one abandons though. That'll be nice.
Hopefully not. It looks like we are ready. The capital was there as well. We're ready to go very, very soon. So game one, you talked about the Slark lane, I believe. You wanted to see a pause for Lina. It doesn't seem like that's going to be quite the case. Mickey has taken the mid laner there once again. Yesterday we did see, and Gunnar was talking about this quite a lot. He wanted to see the right-click laner yesterday, and it actually was a magic build. What's your prediction this time? Does Mickey go the magic style of Lina, or would you prefer to see a right-click build this time around?
Personally, I'm more a fan of the right-click build. I think it scales a bit quicker, and it should be very good in this game. Due to OG not having the most jump for the backline. I think if he has magic, he might also have a hard time against SD ult, which will purge. He cannot self-heals. He's going to be very slow. I think a BKB should be one of his first items.
Yeah, I think it also just ties in with when you have the Drow, when you have the Marcy, you can just do a lot of damage just with the buffs around you, and you can just absolutely melt these heroes. So we'll see if that's what Mike opts for. It should be really nice. I love your point there, though. Like, the lane for Uragi, do you feel like that's something Liquid might just have to struggle with here with the off-lane Pango for Zai? Like, we've seen Zai multiple times before. He loves all his utility. He loves setting up for his team. Is he going to be able to find those timings here?
We talked a bit earlier about lane pulls. I think if Liquid can get them some good pulls off, it might be a bit hard for the Lich to connect the waves, and that might give them a good lane. Their goal should be to probably go 50-50 in this lane. I think the Lich Lark should have the upper hand there.
We are going to see both teams hanging around that mid lane as per usual. Flags being placed by OG around the banner rune spots. No fights to break out, it seems. Though bottom side, maybe we do see something to break out. Not quite. In fact, they are trying a little bit. The K's around top side. Tiger, he could be in a bit of danger, but the slows aren't going to be too much at level 1. The Tumba, he does have the frost arrows, but maybe they land another. Tiger, still running. Looks like he's going to be just fine, but quite a bit of harassment being dealt already.
Just shoves him. They're kind of ready for that lane. You can see Insani again. 6-man goes ready, blocks the large camp here up top. Going to be able to set up to kind of enable that lane, stop them from trying to equalize here on OG's end at least.
Yeah, pretty nice start for OG. 3 bounty runs. It actually helps a lot in these lanes. Having a little bit extra gold, a little bit more regen, you can snowball quite a bit.
Let's talk about the mid lane to get started. I mean, you've got Mickey. He's going to be against EZM on the Lesh right now. I think you mentioned in the draft, Mickey should have somewhat of an advantage against the Lesh just based on how much range you have to harass away from. Is there a way BZM can kind of even out or win this lane against Mickey?
Winning it is going to be very hard, but I think it's a very high skill matchup. If the Lesh does a really good job, he will go close to even. Overall though, Mickey is an expert on Lina, so he's probably going to take advantage of this lane without a hit.
What is Tiger doing right now? Pulling the creep wave. Insani is pulling it too into the mid lane. All right, Celery, go on, analyze this. What's going on?
Yeah, this is a classic. This
what is happening?
Double waves. Yeah. The SD really didn't want to fight this Undying, so it's going for the wave pulls, and now yeah.
Here we go. I mean, I've seen musical lanes before. This is a little bit different. A few more plays than I'm used to seeing rotating between these lanes. And yeah, all about the mid matchups of both mid laners. They get 2 creep waves instead of 1. And this is literally the mid player dream right here. Just the support's dragging more creeps over.
Don't think I've ever seen this.
Don't get any ideas, by the way, for your pup. This is not what you should be doing. Trying to run, Misha. Be there, Boxy, trying to get aggressive, but the Frostblast's going to force him away.
I think the one thing with that movement from mid, right, you leave that solo lane for the Drow, so you end up having a pretty good time for Matu. He's not going to be harassed out by the CK solo. Maybe you get less creeps with a creep wave completely gone, but you've got a little bit more breathing room. You don't have to worry about that disruption set up into stun if they do want to run forward.
I think overall, OG is very happy with what happened with these wave pulls. Undying is one of the best laners. Against strength kills, he will take the damage from the core, he will deny every creep, and when Undying is running away, this is a win for SD. SD is not a lane dominator, he will skill way better.
Bottom, a lot of damage being dealt Zai. He'll get the swashbuckle away and actually finds first blood. Misha the one to drop. Thought Zai was almost guaranteed dead, but Zai able to turn around and at least secure first blood for himself. The Tumba Bit of a chase up top. Maybe just fine though. Amar unable to connect.
And you're seeing what Celery said, right? Insania's always dragged away. He's barely spent any time up top. So even though you're leaving that free lane for the Drow, the CK is also feeling pretty all right. He's not being harassed out, he's not losing strength, and he is getting leveled. Samar's just able to kind of slip away. He's not finding as much CS, but he's kind of keeping up with the Drow, so they're just trading evenly in farm. And solo EXP for the Centaur, it just feels a lot better.
Yeah, OG should be very happy with that. What happened on bot is very nice for Liquid, getting a kill, getting a first blood for them in a lane that should be quite rough. We can see the Lina is having a really, really good time on mid this game. He's taking full advantage of all the extra creeps they got on mid as well.
Top lane, ATF, gonna make a jump. Hoot Stomp is there with disruptive setup. Matumba, he'll go for the cusp, but Tiger, he's got so many stacks over, he will be able to pick up the Drow. They are really abusing the combination. As bottom lane, Boxy, he's gonna be just fine to walk his way out. Liquid still doing just fine down at this bottom lane, but top lane seems to be a bit of a struggle now.
Yeah, it's when they can commit, right? It's that classic Centaur Shadow Demon combo. Disruption into stun. The Undying at level 2 doesn't really have much to save you. Level 1 Slurp can be nice depending on how the creep wave stands, but you can't threaten them away.
Another kill for the Bengal.
Bottom, they are going once again. Sai in danger. He's going to be able to walk away. They did pick up Misha down the bot lane. It's Ragi now, the one to be on the run, though. Zai moving back in with the toss back out from Boxy. Uragi, he's the one in danger. Zai still going. They missed the rebound. Uragi is trying to fight back, but is not going to be able to get it up. At least Zai does that for mid lane. This is a much bigger target. Mickey, top of the CS board right now. The net worth, trying to fight back, but he might be the one to drop and does. Tiger with a fantastic rotation on the Shadow Demon.
Yeah, they're all over the map. That's such a big kill for OG. You were almost twice as much on Mika in terms of CS over BZM. So they needed to equalize there. They get the rotation out. It does come at the cost maybe of just throwing bot a little bit, but you do want that Lesh to go off to a great start. You mentioned it last time we were watching the last game there, Celery. If a Lesh doesn't go off to a good start, it does feel like it's thrown off. You do need some farm.
Yeah, that was super nice for the Lesh. He's back now on net worth. It's very close. And this bot lane has been very interesting. I thought this would be a very, very hard lane for them, due to what happened in the now it's just an even lane, and that's gonna be great for them.
Quite detrimental.
Yeah, the big thing in this game, I feel, is what happened with these wave pulls early. If you look at Undying's net worth, he tanked a lot. This hero spends all his gold on net worth for the lane, or all his net worth on the lane to win it. But when these waves got pulled and he tried to run mid, I think that was a big mistake. Now he's very far behind the net worth. The lane was not won, the draw is below the center. And he needs to try to find some impact real soon to catch back up, because this hero does not really farm that much.
Yeah, that's the concern. Like you mentioned, that lane domination, Insania's hasn't really had a lane to hold on to. Still trying to trade with Taiga up top, and we're seeing a little bit of a back and forth movement here with Misha and with Boxy kind of checking in on mid, but it's a very even game start so far, despite the back and forth, despite the lane shenanigans. You know, 3-3, 1k lead coming out here. You do have K on top of everyone else by a huge margin. Like, is that Lina timing? Is this lead by Mika despite the death? Is that what they have to build around here for OG as they go on?
It's going to be interesting to see what moves they'll make around it. With
Up lane, Insania, he wants to split it up. Looks like Tiger just wants to try and retreat, but Insania still chasing it out. Boxy with rotation. Tiger, well, he's still alive, very far out, trying to make it towards Roshan, but Boxy does secure. Are they going for more? BZM going to try and trade, but unable to lock him down. Insania for a run as well, a bit slower, will drop the Topson on the high ground just to make sure they can't keep the chase going. But they have did quite a bit of call back the way of OG. They still gaze up Insania, but they wouldn't land the splitter. He's going to just fine.
That gives info on that Obso. So instant D-word coming out here from Boxy, and that should help them maintain some control in that top jungle. A lot of back and forth movement, early rotation out, and they tried to go for bait. BZM doesn't quite find anything. At least he can just go back in the jungle and farm, and he is given room to do so.
The main playmaker Liquid has is going to be this Pango. I think the Lina will need some more time. Yes, he's going to have his Falcon Blade complete, but you don't want Luke to make some big moves with this hero. Potentially what Liquid can do is collapse with a lot of heroes on the mid lane and utilize, and that's the way.
Bottom.
Dyer's top tower
Zai still having a very good time against Yuragi. Again, this is the thing we weren't really expecting against a Slark, but look at Zai! He's completely destroying this bottom lane. You just almost can't believe it against the Slark, but Zai's making it look easy right now.
Yeah, they've just made so many moves across the map that they've had to leave Yuragi alone. They need to drag Misha around. He's trying to armor up mid to slow down the shove from Mika, and it is slowing down that right click, but it comes at a pretty big cost.
Mid lane now, they even find the Lich. It's not the biggest kill in the world, but they want something. He's going to get Liquid. A very nice pick up from Mike, and it allows them to keep going for that mid tier 1 tower. As Mike would love to keep pressing it back. They want the fight. Tiger forced to run. The Stampede will allow it, but in comes Zai from the side. He still wants Tiger, and he's gonna find him.
Down bot.
Down bot as well. The Tumberman has rotated Yuragi, just getting swarmed right now by the side of Liquid, completely drowning his Yuragi as he does go down to the bot lane. Meanwhile, mid, they're still going. They found the Leshrac. BZM gonna try to run, but it's not enough. Liquid, they're flooding the side of OG.
They're all over the map, and Matu, he heads bot. The Stampede was up. Yuragi feels like he can go for that kill. Fights, Liquid found it all.
That was an incredible sequence. They collapsed the mid super well. The Drow realized top was not that safe anymore. Here comes bot. They even get the bonus kill on the Slark. It was super good for Liquid. The Drow is not putting himself at risk. He's playing at a safe spot. Center has a good time, but they utilize the timing they had really well.
What do you do now? Like OG 3-9, very slight net worth lead the way of Liquid. Do you feel like they're still okay in this game? Do they need to slow the pace down a little bit?
State of the game is looking pretty good for Liquid, I think. The Slark and the Drow will both need to catch up. Just keep farming for now. Their Lina is very high on top. Their Pango is having a really good game. And this Pango is going for what looks like a Vlad, potentially a Wraith back. They will have a really big timing once he gets this. I don't think they're in a rush to take this mid tower. They can make a move with Pango ult at some point, but for now they should be happy slowing the game down a bit.
Bot lane, gazes out, but rebound is there. Boxy, he's got the Unleash now onto the Lich. They'll find Misha straight away as Yuragi. He just can't catch a break. They'll toss him back with the dispos. Yuragi, he's going to keep trying to run, but Zai's right behind him. Still landing the swashbuckle with the multi-shot. It won't connect. It just may not matter. Boxy, right on target with a double kill here for Liquid. OG losing more bodies as time just goes on.
Yeah, and that was OG clumping up first. They were the ones looking for that opportunity with 3 heroes lined up, 2 supports backing Yuragi this time around, and they still get punished. Liquid, they just respond so quick. They hit these timings, they have these level spikes that just feel massive. And they have so much AoE that even with a Shadow Dance, you're not really safe here for Yuragi.
Yeah, that was brilliant fight by Liquid. For OG, they should probably look to try to involve their center in the game. He's their most farmed hero. This is what can feel a little bit awkward about this hero at times. Oh, he is super strong. Like Liquid don't want to fight him, but they're not. They're just fighting on the other side, and for center it's a bit harder to connect. This Pango TP's in. He has very easy spells to connect with in the fight, and they're abusing that fully right now.
Yeah, at what point do you feel like Amar is gonna take that initiative to join in? He's saving up for the blink. He's only about 700 gold away. Is that the call? Just wait for that initiation and start going?
Yeah, I think he's doing the right thing. He just needs this blink. Before that, you don't really want to join. If possible, OG should be a bit careful on the other side of the map till he has this blink, and they can just fight with him once he's ready.
Matumba just having such a good time on this round now, able to just really escalate in terms of net worth. Very far ahead of Yuragi, considering 700 gold right now on the Drow. Drow, one of the slower farmers in the game, you'd have to argue, but to hit that level 6 mark, it does escalate quite a bit, and it's been a very good time so far for Matumba as he just continues hanging around that jungle. No real risk of dying here for the Drow, as Boxy's always around to tank any kind of gank coming, allow him to get out, and speaking of that gank, it may just be coming. Misha is going to be there with BZM. They'll smoke up as 2, head down towards the bottom side of the map, see if they can find the side of Liquid, but they've read the movement very well. They are going to back their way up, back into the triangle here, Liquid. Seems like unless you're willing to try and make your way through to that area, OG are going to find nothing with this smoke. And quite frankly, I wouldn't quite recommend going to the triangle of the die right now.
Yeah, I think OG needs to wait a second. Center has his blink coming now. They can look to make a move with this. Slark is clearing up the Midas, which I think is good. This hero, you talked about Drow not being the quickest farmer. Like, Slark needs to catch up, for sure. He needs to let his team play as 4 while he just catches up with this Midas.
Yeah, does it feel like it gets a bit greedy though? I mean, you talk about Leshrac also needing items, so you're waiting for this full Bloodstone to be up. At least the Blink will allow Amar to play, but you've got 2 farming cores there trying to get that build up, while for Liquid it just feels like they don't need as much to kind of get some impact here.
Yeah, Liquid is gonna hit a really big timing soon. This Pengo has his Vlad's complete, Lina almost has the BKB. So if they can collapse with these timings, take over the map, take the Roche, that should be really good for them.
Big smoke up, OG. 4-man smoke through that dire triangle, trying to find a big target, but they won't find one quite yet. In fact, Insania, very good positioning. Ready to break the smoke, but won't find anyone quite yet. Oh, they found Matumba on the Drow. That's the target they wanted. Insania just a second too early, and Matumba's gonna drop. OG able to immediately punish off the blink of ATF, and do you call that unfortunate? Just barely missing out on the Undying.
You can call it unfortunate. It was also a brilliant move by OG. They chilled, they saw the Undying, they just dodged him and got the perfect jump. That was really well done with them. Taking great use of their blink.
Yeah, and that gives them space as well to just shove in mid. Mid-tier 1 not standing so healthy here for Liquid. I'm not going to fully commit from the side of OG, but you can always threaten with that Leshrac now. BZM's got enough levels in the Edict that melting through the early objectives is going to be a lot quicker. And for Liquid, they didn't have a massive lead net worth-wise, so that does even out the game a little bit more. They are going for their smoke play here, though.
Yeah, down towards the bottom side. Who can they find there, though? Might rotate towards the left, but no, they are going all the way down
Yuragi.
bottom. Who are they going to run into? Oh, it's Yuragi. That's the exact target you want. Laguna immediately out. Yuragi going to try to run, but Sai. Once again, able to secure the kill on Yuragi. He has no breathing room.
I think every single kill of Zai has been Yuragi. He's 0-5, Zai has 5 kills. Like, all of it's just been on that Slark, and they've done a fantastic job of just suppressing. I mean, the Midas is still going to have to come out. You're going to need to eat a lot of space. He does have Midas, but the investment takes time to really pay off. And again, it's just back to kind of waiting for that Slark. So, does OG have enough here to kind of buy that space 4v5? You mentioned they'd have to play that way. Bloodstone's almost done as well for BZM, so the tools are coming there. Is it enough against that BKB on Lina?
The X factor they do have is this SD, who is really farmed. Taiga's having a really good game. He's trying to take over his Slark. He might do so if the Midas being ready while he's dead. Doesn't get a lot as a carry when you see this. Oh.
The massive Midas, it's a classic. What can you do? It happens. Mid lane, Liquid, they're going to start moving in, trying to apply a bit of pressure onto that tier 2 tower. It seems like they're aware that OG just aren't ready to force a fight, though I say that. They do TP in, they do prepare with ATF, they've even got the Bloodstone now up on BZM. Maybe this is the spike they've been looking for to try and force another team fight against Liquid. The question is, can they actually find them?
It's a bit rough vision-wise. They don't have that much reach onto the other side of the river here. Lots of sentries out from Liquid just to ensure that they're secure while farming up. So it's going to be a little bit of a dark smoke out. They will go for the play. They saw a little bit of movement up top from Zai clearing out the creep waves. Might find something juicy if they stick around to farm here on Liquid's end.
North they go, OG. Be a massive team fight. Wards are down. They've got the vision. They're going to see Boxy. They'll make the jump in onto the Marcy. Boxy, he's still actually a little bit of a tankier target. They'll purge him up, gaze him, and stun him up here with BZM. It's going to be a nice position for pick-off for the side of OG. Can they find more?
I don't think Liquid minds it too much. OG doesn't have any threat on the Roche right now. Liquid still has a nice ward on them, so they can just wait a second. They didn't lose any of their core heroes, so it shouldn't be too bad.
I mean, they could have easily found Mika if he just hang around an area nearby, but they pull back in the right time. Still.
Here we go. ATF, blink in. That's a 2-man stun out from ATF into the Stampede. This could be a great team fight for OG. They've already got Zai down. Insania dropping, but the Chain Frost not quite bouncing his way. It won't matter. They'll find a second. OG. Very nice initiation from ATF as always.
Yeah, I mean, that forced out Mika's BKB Be forced to just BKB TP away never feels good. You don't lose the biggest heroes at losing the pan is pretty, but you already have some initial items to play with. Stalling out the blink by maybe a half minute there with how close Zai is anyway.
Yeah.
So still feels all right-ish.
Yeah, these 2 kills super nice for OG, but the big thing about this is you saw the Slark just deal water 2 wards after that. That just took all vision away from Liquid. And OG just wants to buy some time right now, so this is gonna help them a lot. Liquid has no vision on map right now. It's gonna be quite tricky for them to get out on the map. It's still nighttime for 3 more minutes. And I think Liquid should try to group up as 5 very soon, because right now they're getting outplayed on the map.
OG, there's your group up. They're going to try and make something happen. A 5-man smoker. OG, though, they've got a high ground advantage. BZM was spotted by Misha. He's going to break the gang. In goes the Sun from ATF, trying to start on Boxy. He's such a tanky target. They're throwing everything at the kitchen sink at ATF, but he's still not dropping. Uragi, meanwhile, he will back off at BZM. He's moving right back in. He's all by himself, however, and will drop. BZM getting punished for his aggression. This Tiger, he'll be just fine to back out. They do end up losing that mid-lash rack as well as the pos 5 lich.
That just timed really well for Liquid. They managed to get the roll in with a blink reveal out from Zai right as Amar comes in for the stun. So they're not able to play around that. Immediate stampede to try to retreat. And maybe a little bit of miscom. BZM's already up on the ramp. He's just trying to go for it by himself. It just kind of gives a bit of a freebie out to Liquid.
Yeah, he could have probably retreated there. So this fight was super nice for Liquid. It was a nice choke point for the Tombstone as well, giving all the vision that they needed. Now they got the Aegis, so that's perfect.
Where do you want to head now with this Aegis up for the side of Liquid? Like, is it just going to be that farming Aegis that we've talked about before? Is it going to be an aggressive kind of Aegis where you want to try and force the fights? What should Liquid be doing right now?
I would like them to group up again soon. I think they have really big timings right now. They got the big items that they need. And this Drow is not a hero that cannot fight. This Drow is very strong right now. I think they need to involve him. He has the Aegis, so he doesn't have to be as afraid of centaur jumping. So I would like them to group up, try to take back the map.
Yeah, I think just going back to how farmed Taiga is, I mean, he's got that blink up along with the Aether Lens. We're trying to rush into the Axe along with the Ghost Scepter. So you do have that reach, you do have that follow through to set up for Amar maybe, and just kind of try to run that Drow down. You don't have anything defensive yet for Matu, although
Liquid, they don't see the side of OG moving in, but they do eventually find Misha, who does go into the Invis, but it won't matter. BZM, he's a bigger target. The left rack once again being slowed up, controlled up, and taken down. Liquid, perfect fight for them as they find a double once again. More importantly, finding the mid left rack, and well, now they're onto the top tier 1 tower.
Yeah, I love how aggressive they're being. They're just grouping up this fight. They're going for a smoke off the back of that. Their position very well known, but Amar's pretty far forward if he's not careful. Might back off. Still, that opens up the map, right? It's forcing OG away from just pushing out waves. It's allowing you to take control and potentially maybe line up for a tier 2 if you find even more.
Yeah, I like the way they're splitting the map. They're just letting the Lina play more as the pulse 1 since he has the travel, so he can always connect and just move together with your Drow. Take the map with the less mobile hero.
Tiger almost getting caught out there, but does manage to blink away just in the nick of time. Still Liquid moving very aggressively across the map, trying to take those farming positions of OG. So OG now have grouped up, maybe trying to think about a fight, but the last couple of game plans just have not gone their way. As Liquid, they'll be the ones to back off. They don't have the vision to fight here. Them down eventually, but now Liquid, they will play it safe. It's still anyone's game. Like, you've got a 1k net worth lead for Liquid. It could go the other way very, very quickly. Even with the Aegis up as Liquid, they'll try to make the jump in onto ATF, but a quick blink out is going to make sure he's just fine. And I suppose with the Aegis, maybe you could try to pressure this bottom tier too.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Radiant's
Yeah, that shouting. Flash is the call. I suppose that's all you need to say sometimes. Just get the mid-lash rack.
Yeah, I mean, again, the positioning there, not quite where you'd want to be, although...
Yep, initiate, he's found the drow range of a Matumba by Boxy. They get the drow up, and now there's the multi-shot. ATF dropping low. Boxy still manning up here against Yuragi, but eventually will drop to Matumba. Somehow still alive after BZM, but he's dropping real low now. The Aegis, it will go down. That's the first life. Mickey, who can he turn on? ATF, he's found the target. That's the one they wanted. Matumba, he'll get the soul rip, but it doesn't seem to be enough. OG able to punish real hard Liquid as they keep going. Tiger, he's got the pillage out. Mickey in big trouble. He's another great target, and OG have found it. In fact, they're not done yet, but ATF, he doesn't land the stun. Zai, he'll be on the run. Insania, he's going to TP on the tree line, will be just fine, but can they get Zai out of there? And the Pango, he'll get in the tree line, but the Gaze is there. Lock him down and take him out. OG, they will punish the side of Liquid even with the Aegis up on Matumba, man.
Oh, man, that's the perfect situation for OG there, managing to really split up the fight. We saw, as you mentioned, you connect the Lina in with the travel, so you come in with the BKB, but the saves coming out from Taiga, the investment in the Shadow Demon, with that disruption out, if you can't land the stuns, you don't really do much in that window.
Yeah, we could also see the strength here of the Lich armor in this fight. The Lich is a lot tankier than you would expect. We know how this Bloodstone is, how much he heals. But in this fight, we can really see this Lich armor adding up. And this Lich is just walking in. They're not afraid of the Aegis. They took a nice initiative on the fight. And it really paid off here.
Yeah, you can see right there, who just tries to focus in, gets a good Hurricane Pike use, but with a Frost armor up, he's just scratching. BZM, it just doesn't do enough.
Very, very tough here for Liquid, trying their absolute best. When you catch the drow out, it's just so hard to try and turn the team fight. And Atia, as usual, just doing a fantastic job with his initiations, always finding the target he knows OG needs to get before they can really force the fight. And with now OG, the ball's back in their court, they control more of the map. Bit of a net worth lead here with 3k. Liquid, again, it's still a very, very close match between these two. It just seems, it's almost like a tennis match. The ball's just going one way and the other over and over again. Dota plus-wise, though, 73% the way of OG. Though I say that very soon because Yuragi going to be spotted for a moment, but just with the Drow and the Undying, it doesn't seem like you could really make the jump in.
Yeah, I think the issue right now for Liquid is holding Yuragi down. He managed to farm up the Axe. He's caught up here on the Slurk quite nicely above of Matu's Drow now in terms of farm. And just with all the pounces available, we've seen how much of a struggle it is for Liquid to catch these heroes out with the saves and that mobility of Yuragi. I don't think you're going to be able to slay this Fishman anytime soon. What's the solution to kind of keep him locked in with how far he's come after such a slow start?
Yeah, the downside of OG's draft was the early game and the lack of initiation. They had total centaur blink, but at this point, the Slark might just go out of control. He got his items up. They have super good defensive supports to protect the Lash. It's quite tricky for Liquid to take a good fight now. They need the fight to be slow, play around the Tombstone, let the Pango control them. But it might be happening.
OG, 5-man smoke up, they'll move in. Sania, he does get the Tombstone down just before he gets caught out. Yuragi will happily get to work. There's Zai with a very nice rolling under. BZM, he'll get disrupted. The try to save the day for this left right. There's BKB up and one. Somehow Sania in the middle of the board. This is still alive, keeping the Tombstone up on BZM. He cannot TP in time. In fact, Yuragi, he was left behind. Boxy will try to chase, but won't be able to keep up. They let Slot go, but it's still a great team fight now for Liquid.
They work it. That smoke comes out, they get the angle, and you know, OG, they feel confident going in there. They're the ones kind of trying to be aggressive, but if you can't kill off Insania, and even if he dies, their Tombstone is already down, Liquid were ready to collapse on top. They managed to get a good stun out from Mikhail, though.
Jump in, that's a big target. Okay. And now the Invis, though, with the going onto ATF, they'll try for the Centaur. Do they have the damage this time? Man, ATF still taking through it. Matumba, he's been jumped on. Yuragi trying to do it all by himself. He'll get the Shadow Dance off. Yuragi's not done yet, but might have to back. He doesn't have the defensive play anymore. Liquid, they will do the same. Decent job of kiting out of that fight. It doesn't seem like you're quite at the level yet where you can actually deal with ATF to start off the team fight.
Yeah, Amar has nice itemization as well. He has the Halberd against the Drow and the Lina, which counters these heroes really hard if you get it off first. And the Lina could just not hit there for a very long time.
Yeah, it's holding off that damage, and I think that was the big issue as well in that earlier fight near the clipboard, where you were disarmed on Matu when he had an Aegis life, and he just couldn't hit. Even if even if he was hitting, he wasn't doing much damage anyway. And just all the armor coming out now in Amar. You mentioned, Mike, if you do try to jump Amar with a Frost Shield up, with a Plate Mail on top with a Vanguard, he does last a long time. It's really disruptive. You have to watch out for him because his constant hoof stomps are just annoying.
I think the longer fights is what Liquid wants to look for. The fight they won earlier where Insania pops his ult and Tombstone, and the fight is a bit slower. They play around the Tomb and the Pengo roll. These are the fights that they can win. They are not weak at all. But if the fight is too quick, it's very hard. They cannot burst heroes. There's too much defense on OG. If they could somehow kill these supports first, would be the best. But it's quite tricky for their backliners to get that close.
It's interesting you say that they want a longer fight as well, right? Because you're against Yuragi's slot, which I would assume with the essence shifts just being stacked up, I would assume it would kind of go the other way. In fact, hold that Thorka Zai is going to make the jump in onto Misha. They've got the dust ups, not going to do enough. Tiger is there with the disruption though. Meanwhile, towards the north, ATM, they're going to try once again onto the Centaur, but he's going to be able to stampede away towards the south. Who have they gone on? Boxy, he's going to be KB run. Mickey trying to chase. They want a target. They found a couple. They've got Tiger and they've got Misha. 2 supports to drop from OG. This is the fight Liquid want now. Problem is all the cores have already left the build.
It's hard to, they managed to take the supports. They tried to collapse on top from OG. It doesn't feel like Liquid can do too much with this opening though, but they do manage to take control back of their jungle. And I think ideally this is what happens at the start of the fight, right? Just find these 2 supports and go from there.
That's the dream for sure. This fight is very nice now. They have control of the jungle, the Roche is alive, and they capitalize on these supports being dead right now.
Roshan, such a big target to go for here. Would get started. Ragi is going to make a bit of a jump in, but can pounce out. Still, they are going to chase with the gust. It will connect, but they don't have the lockdown. Yuragi going to be okay. He's just trying to slow down this Roshan timing. Problem is, it's so hard to fight against that Tombstone. The Yuragi, he's going to pounce in. It's too early though. He's still going to try and force the fight with the Shadow Dance, but they're not aiming down Roshan. Disruptions there. He's got the Aegis up. Yuragi still alive somehow. Gets the pounce away. He will make it up, but now as Misha will be the target that they go for. And they even found BZM. In fact, ATM, he got left behind as well. It's a decent attempt, but maybe just a little bit too early. And Liquid, they just play around it very well.
It just goes back to that AoE, right? You feel so confident on the Slark with 2 pounces around. He dances a bit, he gets caught inside the pit with a toss back, and the roll just comes in. His team was pretty far to try to save there.
Yeah, it's quite tricky. It's a very nice attempt. He didn't even die there on the Slark, but he kind of forces his team in there. It's a very close fight though. If it goes a little bit different here, maybe Centaur picks up the Aegis and the fight is different, because the Slark did not die here. But these fights are very hard to say. It's a very small thing. If Centaur gets it, maybe the fight is different. It is on top of a Tombstone, so it's a really nice spot for Liquid to fight. Because it forces the OG supports out of position if they want to get in there.
One thing I didn't notice as well, BZM was just caught out the whole time by Mickey and just bursted down on the left track. So you kind of had your eyes on Yuragi, but BZM had just been caught out right in front of the Roshan pit. And without that added damage and control of the left track, it's a bit rough to try and fight into the side of Liquid. As speaking of Liquid, they've got Gaben's Blessing, a double damage rune at the bot rune spot. It doesn't seem like they... So it will be left for now. Line after Roshan, of course, as is standard, as is tradition. If they had that double damage, it would be a very fast tier 2 tower, but again, they just don't have the vision for it.
Yeah, it can still be a bit risky. There's some play once the respawns are up from OG. And again, just back to that Lich that Celery mentions. Even just frost armor on a tower slows down your push massively. You're not going to be piercing through any armor on that as a Drow. So you just kind of have to turn bodies forward. And this is stalling out really good for OG. They've managed to get the respawns back up. They can go for a defensive fight if Liquid forces an issue. For now, they'll just kind of keep that farm game up and keep building up here.
Liquid has a long time left on this Aegis, and he'll probably try to use this timing. Nick is going for a very cool build. He'll go for the Pike now. A bit of a later Pike. He just bought the Dragonlance. But it should be very, very effective against OG's heroes.
Upside, they do find Yuragi. They're also having a look around north for the Shadow Demon, but he is going to be able to TP out. So Boxy unable to close the gap to find position 5. Boxy and Zai eventually just going to back their way out. think you mentioned there's plenty of time for the Aegis to expire, so no real rush for them. They'll just farming time for Liquid. 11-22 though, 4K advantage the way of Liquid. Still feels like an extremely close game between these two teams. Now OG definitely on the more defensive side.
It will come down to how these fights go. If it's a bit of a longer fight where Liquid can stall out the defensive spells from the OG supports, it should be very good for them. OG can get the jump and focus the right targets.
Radiant's middle tower is under
It all
attack.
comes down to the initiation right now, who they can jump. But for now, OG should look to just stall out this Aegis, farm up more items. It's still a very good Slark game. The more items he gets, it's gonna be very scary for this Lina draw.
What's the right target for OG to find? We've seen Amar get some really big jumps. We know Taiga can kind of set up and save as well. But what's the priority when you're OG dealing with Liquid right now? Who has to go first?
Yeah. Oh, light strike away lands Mickey. Perfect stun out. Gonna keep moving into the Harbor. Was there to slow him down as ATF. How can you get out of this one? Stampede is there. There's no way ATF. He's trying to run, but the shield crash slows him down eventually. He will drop. Very nice stun from Mickey.
Oh, that's a big one. Just checking the tree line, manages to find him. And again, without the Centaur and with Stampede popped as well, you've got the window here for Liquid to play without Aegis. Push more objectives, maybe just take control of the bot jungle. Look for a skirmish if you so feel OG. Not going to stay clumped up for that. Just work the map as best as they can. And OG, as you mentioned, it's all about stalling here, Celery. Any big items immediately available for Yuragi that you'd like to see to kind of help him deal with these scores?
An expert on the slug items, he had Basher queued up.
Yuragi, jump in. He found Matumba. So is Yuragi. With that Shadow Dance, he'll keep going for a little bit more. Take some stacks away, just pounce his way back up. But Liquid, they're moving back in. Tiger immediately